Welcome to this online tutorial on developing a cross-border cooperation project for the IPA CBC program between Kosovo and North Macedonia. As you know, there are several key steps to preparing a good project, and one of the more important steps is the definition of indicators and the preparation of log frame matrix. When your project design is completed, you'll have to think about how you will measure if your project is delivering and achieving what was planned. To measure this, you will need to use indicators or verifiable descriptions of your project's impacts, outcomes, and outputs in terms of their quality, quantity, time, and source of verification. Defining indicators is an important step to specify more precisely what you want to deliver and achieve with your partners in your project. Impact indicators measure your project's long-term effects, in other words, how your project contributes to the program objectives. Ideally, they may be drawn from the program's results indicators, but please check your cross-border cooperation program strategy and requirements. The program document already has a list of predefined indicators. Outcome indicators measure the positive changes for your target groups, are short-term and medium-term changes and effects of intervention outputs and resulting from the related outputs of the action. Output indicators, on the other hand, measure the services, goods, or infrastructure produced or delivered by the activities of your action. Outputs should be linked to corresponding outcomes through clear numbering. In relevant cases, it is important to include possibilities for disaggregation of indicators, for example, by gender or category. Now, as we have defined what the indicators are, we can proceed with the preparation of the log frame matrix. But first, what is the log frame matrix? The log frame matrix shows the essence of the entire project in a table. It provides better communication and understanding between the stakeholders in the project. It is also a standard requirement for a project design and submission with the EU. General characteristic of LFM, it allows for easier spotting of project's weaknesses. Good tool for improving the project. It cannot turn a bad project into a good one. It is 4 pages long, depending on the complexity of the project. It should be used creatively in order to help designing a good project. How to complete the log frame matrix? The first step towards completing your project's log frame matrix is the definition of the intervention logic of your project. In the first column of the log frame table, you'll need to formulate the major elements of the project. This is known as the vertical logic of the project. In order to complete the table, you will need to follow the intervention logic and start from the impact, which we said measures the long-term effect of your project. After you have defined your impact, it is time to move to the second set of indicators, which is linked to the outcomes of the project. It is good practice to limit the number of outcomes. You will need to be very concise in the definition of the outcomes and always link the outcomes by numbering the outcomes with the desired impact indicator. Once you have completed the outcome section of the log frame, you now have to complete and define the outputs of your action. Outputs are direct and tangible products by your project. They can be infrastructure, goods, or services that results from the direct action of your project. Output should be linked to corresponding outcomes through clear numbering. Beside impact, outcome, and output, another very important segment of your project are the activities. But what exactly are the activities, and how are they linked to the impact, outcome, and outputs? Activities are actions or a number of actions and tasks in which you invest resources inputs and are done in order to achieve desired results and objectives. Activities are directly linked to the outputs of your project. Activities and outputs are often confused. There is difference between the activities and the outputs. Remember, completed activities are not outputs. Outputs are actually the short-term effects of completed activities. For example, a training cycle or a training event is usually called an activity. The output identifies the new skill or ability that has resulted from the training. After the indicators and activities have been formulated and defined, your project team has still some work to do. As explained previously, the log frame matrix has additional columns that need to be fed with data. For each defined indicator, your team has to set the baseline of the indicator. The baseline is the starting point or actual value of one indicator. It represents the value of the indicator prior to the intervention against which progress can be assessed or comparisons made. The target value represents the intended final value of the indicator once your project has finalized implementation. The current value, on the other hand, is mainly used for reporting purposes. It represents the latest available value of the indicator S at the time of reporting. During implementation of your project, you need to check the current value of your indicators to make sure you are on track to reach your targets. The final two columns in the log frame matrix that need to be completed are the sources of data verification and the assumption. Sources of data verification are sources of information and methods used to collect and report, including who and when how frequently. Sources of data back and confirm the results you present during the implementation of your project and at the reporting phase. You need to make sure and identify where and in what form you will get information on these values. These values may come from internal project documentation, such as reports, assessments, or research, or from external sources, such as official statistics. Assumptions, on the other hand, are external factors that can impact your project. Assumptions are external, necessary, and positive conditions for implementing the intervention that are outside of its management's control. After completed all the information required in the log frame matrix template, you have finalized the intervention logic of your project and have designed a sound cross-border cooperation project outline. On this basis, you can now elaborate your budget forecasts, confident that, if it gets granted, your project will bring concrete benefits to the cross-border region. Remember key points. The log frame matrix is an essential part of your project application. Indicators measure what you will deliver and achieve with your project. You need a baseline and a target for each indicator. Indicators should be clear and easy to measure. During implementation, you will monitor the current value of the indicators to ensure your project is on the right track. We hope you've enjoyed this cross-border cooperation online training, and we wish you lots of success in developing your project.